Boy, what a wonderful group. My brother Tim and my sister Nancy and our spouses Patty and Chip and Pam. How many grandchildren? 9? 9 grandchildren. 12 great-grandchildren. 12 great-grandchildren. Have we had any more since a couple days ago? All thank you for being here. This was the kind of thing that she liked. As she got older, she didn't really participate, and she had to withdraw because there was a lot of action for her. But she loved to be there. She'd come to these things, and it would look like Grand Central Station, everything going on at the same time, and she'd go home and she'd say, I had the best time. And you're sitting there thinking, how could she have enjoyed it? It must have been like a flurry going on in front of her, but she loved it. She loved everything. She did everything in her life, in her 92 years. Remember, she went on cruises before there were cruise ships. She'd rent out rooms next to the captains and sit at the captain's table. My father and her would go on cruises before there were any such thing. And she was in the Hilton Hotel in 1960 when Castro came through and threw him out and took over the hotel for his headquarters. So she lived a full life. And yet, toward the end, she knew she wanted to go home. She felt that her time was over, and she was not afraid at all. And she had this kind of a feeling about what her life was like.
Another summer day has come and gone away. In Paris and Rome, but I wanna go home. Maybe surrounded by a million people, I still feel all alone. Just wanna go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. And I've been keeping all the letters that I wrote to you. Each one a line or two. I'm fine, baby, how are you? Well, I would send them, but I know that it's just not enough. My words were cold and flat, and you deserve more than that. Another aeroplane, another sunny place. I'm lucky, I know, but I wanna go home. I've got to go home. Let me go home.
She thought of everyone all the time, and yet she knew she wanted to go home.
I'm just too far from where you are. I wanna come home. And I feel just like I'm living someone else's life. It's like I just stepped outside when everything was going right. And I know just why you could not come along with me. That this was not your dream, but you always believed in me. Another winter day has come and gone away. It even Paris and Rome, and I wanna go home. Let me go home. And I'm surrounded by a million people. I still feel alone. Let me go home.
that's how she felt about it too. She wanted to leave. She knew her time was up, and she lived a very full and vigorous life. And she kept saying, well, I hope I don't have to go through another one of these winters. She really meant it. She knew that she was headed for a better place. So this is a little different of a memorial service than you're used to having, or I'm used to having, because I'm used to coming into a group of people that don't know me so I can be objective and distant. That's a little difficult here today. And so anybody feels like saying anything, anytime, jump right in. It's okay. This is pretty informal. We come here today because we recognize something really remarkable about Mom. She grew up, she started out in 1917 in Kansas City, Missouri, and she was born to two very Germanic people with a very Germanic type of family life. I remember as a child, I didn't think it was very loving when I didn't know my grandfather, but I knew my grandmother. I knew she was a salt of the earth, hardworking, get it done. I grew to think over time that really wasn't as loving as I would like to have had my childhood. I'm sure if they had grown older and I had gotten to know them, I would have seen that that was their way of being loving. That everybody has their own way, and that was their way. And then Mom was sort of a transition person. She could love you without being too cuddly and overt about it. You always knew she was as steady as they come, and that she was always pleasant. Like all of us, she had some traits that weren't perfection, and she tried to rein them in, not always successfully, probably more successfully than most of us do. We can all take notes about that, but she everywhere she went, people loved her. People liked her. They said she's so kind and so nice, and nobody ever had anything bad to say about her. And so we come here today knowing that in her way, she was this steady presence over 92 of her years and as many of our years as we have, of a loving, kind person who always had us in her thoughts. I know that every time I talked to her and every time I left her, she said thank you. I didn't do anything, but she said thank you. It was just her way. Oh, thank you. On the phone, I was just so grateful for everything that went on. When she moved into Sunrise, you know, Sunrise is a wonderful place. It's an assisted living, so it can't be as great as getting in your own car and going to your own home. But she said, oh, this is the best place I've ever lived. And even when she had her stroke and she couldn't swallow, she loved to eat. I mean, you never saw a 92-year-old woman that could scarf down the food like she could. She could beat me to the finish plate. And she liked everything. She would say, my doctor tells me I can't have shrimp. Oh, would you fix me 5 of those? Because they look good. And she'd eat them. Then I'll take another 5 of those. No, I can't eat shrimp. But she finished off the whole plate. She ate everything. She loved it all. She went to dinner. You want to go out, Mom? Yeah, where are we going? Didn't matter. But just go out. Time to go do something new and adventurous. And when she couldn't swallow, and because she'd had her stroke, and they have to give you pureed foods. They take these things and they try to make it look, they try to make it sort of tan so it looked like a piece of turkey. And over here was the white stuff that you figured that must be potatoes. And then there was a carrot. You knew it was a carrot, but it was red and it was kind of oblong. And she ate it. She said, that is so good. Yeah. Everything. She liked everything. She did everything well. What was really remarkable, I think, in these last few days is that we had so many family and friends on a constant barrage over 3 to 4 days, of days and nights. It's always a constantly changing scheme of people and stories and laughter. And she was like the magnet that drew all these people in. And during that process, we told these stories and we recognized the magnetism of Mom and her, mostly I think you have to say it's her steadiness.